Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals with attachment wounds. I'm also a doctoral student of psychology. And so I look at a lot of individuals from many different angles when I'm practicing with couples and individuals. And today I wanted to talk about something that I observe a lot, but it's also something that's been pretty prevalent in year 2025 for some reason. And it is, I guess, signs that an avoidant feels loved by their partner. And I've had a lot of breakthroughs recently, so that's kind of where I'm coming from in this video. And I think a lot of people can appreciate this. So the very first one where an avoidant actually feels loved by their partner, which typically is a precursor of them wanting to stay with you, honestly, forever. Most avoidants, once they really open up and you're the one for them, they don't really want to leave because honestly, it took too long for them to open up to you in the first place. And so the first one is actually they start to open up to you, right? And that's something that can look different depending on avoidant individuals, but often one of them is like they talk about their day-to-day in a way where there's a feeling attached to it. A lot of people who are anxious, they think opening up means, talk about your, deepest desires or your memory in childhood. But avoidant individuals, that is true, but that's not how they operate. They tend to just operate they don't like to linger onto things very long. It's actually why after arguments, they just tend to bounce back and act like it never happened. That's just their strategy of life. It's not really necessarily bad as long as they don't, dive into other behaviors. But I don't even think I can talk about that on YouTube. But as long as they're not doing anything too maladaptive regarding that, typically they just prefer to open up about day-to-days and their emotion attached to it. So I'm going to give an example. Let's say we have a dismissive avoidant male, and let's just say he works in sales. I think that's a good example, and a lot of people understand how sales work. And their partner, let's say anxious, preoccupied female, and he's opening up and saying, it's really stressful. My boss has been really busy this month, and typically we have our one-on-one planned, and I show them around visits to sites that I'm trying to make sales at, whatever it may be, whether it's like car dealerships or, I don't know, doctor's offices, whatever types of salesmen, and whatever reason, maybe this individual is trying to show like the long-term connections they have with these offices, right? That's typically where they get some of their referrals, whatever it may be. And maybe that's something that happens once a month. And their boss was really busy, so they dropped it on them last minute right before the end of the month to get the boss's numbers or off their checklist, right? And so the avoidant individual feels really frustrated because they're like, I have to make my itinerary very last minute. Like I only have 2 days, and it's really frustrating. And so that's actually a sign of them to open up, and they're saying, I'm sharing my feelings with you. I'm opening up. This is valuable to me. My work is really important. I'm annoyed. I'm still going to get it done, but this is something that I have to do last minute, right? And what can even make it more comforting for an avoidant individual is if you show some version of vulnerability. This doesn't always happen. Work, or there's no opportunity for it. But sometimes if like your guys are together in person and the partner is saying, after you leave today, I got to really work on my itinerary. Sometimes it can help if you open up and say, okay, I hear you. If you need me to leave early, let me know, and I'm completely fine with doing that. A lot of times the avoidant individual, they weren't even asking that, but just hearing that you're willing to compromise for them feels really good. And often they're probably going to say, no, I'm completely fine. Don't worry about it. But that thought that you said, they very much appreciate that you love them and you're willing to hear them out when what they want. They're not totally interested in telling you about that one time they broke their arm when they were, I don't know, playing basketball in high school. Maybe. But to them, that's not as important as their boss being annoying. And so that's their version of opening up. Does that make sense? The next one, and this does happen a lot, they start answering messages much more quickly. Avoidant individuals, the reason they didn't answer your message is not because they didn't feel loved. It's not that they didn't love you. It's just that's how they operate. But when an avoidant individual feels loved by their partner, they truly feel loved and appreciated. What ends up happening is they like to subconsciously, it's more subconscious than conscious, they actually like to meet your needs as well. And so maybe they don't really like answering messages quickly. Some of them do, especially dismissive avoidance. But some of them, it just becomes very overwhelming. But because they feel so loved by you, they actually want to give back to you. Like it's almost like their form of appreciation. And so they like to answer messages more quickly simply for you. And that doesn't mean they're doing it in a resentful, angry way. It's because they actually are trying to subconsciously show you, like, you make me feel so good. I want to make you feel good. I'm going to answer those messages more quickly, even though it's not my cup of tea. And no matter how much I love somebody, sometimes I just won't do it. But I'm going to do it for you because I want you to feel how good I feel. And I have had avoidant patients actually word things like this. Like once they get to way more healing, they're able to articulate why they did what they did, and process it much more. But that doesn't mean avoidants who are unhealed cannot do this or less healed. They do. They just may not word it properly or as clearly, right? The next one, and this is more specific for a long-term relationship, because in the short-term relationships, this is common with avoidants even if they don't feel loved by you. But if they're really feeling loved by you and you guys have been together for 3, 5, 7, 8 years and they're still doing this is a sign that they feel very connected and vulnerable to you. And that is that they send you more random messages, like throughout the day. I have some patients that, a lot of my patients are men, by the way. Just, I don't know if that helps, but it's so that some of these could be specific to that. But that doesn't mean I don't have female avoidant patients. I definitely do. But a lot of them, a lot of men especially, they like to engage in like hobbies. So maybe they like to collect cards, or I don't know if I can say this one on YouTube. Sports bet? I don't know if I can say that one. But they like to do little things together. Poker, I think that one I can say. Poker, playing pool. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say. I'm not a YouTuber. Sorry. But, they like to do certain things. And so maybe an avoidant male is playing poker with one of their, maybe they're playing a tournament at one of their buddies' houses. 10, 12 people, whatever it is, or maybe they're playing a cash game, whatever it is. And they mention to you, playing this game, doing well, whatever it is. I don't want to talk about the terminology. Or maybe they send a picture of how much chips they have on the table. Just something random showing you, I'm excited. I like to connect with you. I like to share with you. Maybe they bought a new guitar, so they take a picture of their guitar they're hanging on the wall, right? Maybe they just send random things. They have a hole in their sock and they're annoyed by it, so they sent you that. Or they're just telling you, been a busy day. Random messages that they used to not do before, especially in the long-term relationship, they're starting to feel more loved by you. They're happy. They care about you very deeply. And this is a person that feels extremely connected to you. And it's a good thing if people are doing this, like an avoidant is doing this to you, if you're the partner, because that means that you do put effort and you probably do genuinely care about them and respect them for who they are. And that's a good trait in a person. I can appreciate that trait. So if your partner is feeling this way, I really think it's important for you guys to reflect about yourself. Sometimes individuals who are partners of an avoidant, they don't think about themselves enough. They think about their wounds, but not who they really are. If you have made your partner feel loved, I want you to appreciate yourself, because it's not easy. It's really not easy to love an avoidant. I know that. And if you really have done this, it is an accomplishment. I know it sounds silly, but you should be proud of yourself. You should feel like, wow, I am a genuine, selfless and kind person, and my partner is meeting me halfway. This is a good relationship, if that's how you feel. But it's something to, be proud of. And I'm proud of you for sure. The next one is they start becoming less triggered, especially about topics that used to trigger them. I like this one a lot because this very much happens almost all the time. When an avoidant feels loved by you, or they're ready to commit to you, or they're trying to make certain steps, and they feel like, and you've done the work too, of course, they actually start being less triggered because you guys are a pair. You're a partnership. They don't want to get mad at you. They don't want to be stressed towards you. They don't want to, deny you of things that you want. They want you happy. And so they're going to be less triggered if you talk about marriage. They're going to be less triggered if you talk about, frequency in the bedroom, because they want to change. They feel loved by you. And so they're going to be less triggered. And it's a good trait. Okay. The next one is pretty much a summary of some of the stuff I already mentioned, but I'm just trying to make it a little more specific. They start meeting your needs more. Whatever your needs are, they might be specific. The avoidant may not have a clue or understand why you feel the way you do, but they're going to meet your need. Avoidant individuals, some of them, just an example, are like really sensitive to like accepting gifts. not all of them, but they just find it like embarrassing. Like, you know what they like, or maybe you're expecting something from them, so they feel pressure. Even if you say it, they feel guilty, or they just feel uncomfortable being like showered in love. Like, it's hard for them to understand that. So a lot of avoidant individuals find it really hard to also give their partner a gift because they feel like you will feel that way as well. So they feel like if they do that, you might feel suffocated. But if you're a person who really likes gifts, or you like random flowers or a card, I'm thinking of you, whatever it may be, very typical romantic gestures, at least in the United States, we call that romantic. Avoidant individuals will start doing that just because you like it. It's your need. That's what you want. An avoidant individual will start doing that if they feel loved by you. And I know a lot of people will say, I don't think avoidants are capable of that. They are. I see it. I saw one like 2 days ago. I saw a patient that is starting to do this. So yeah, it happens for sure. The next one is they share insecurities they have with you. Now, this one is much more common with female avoidants, but I see this with male avoidants as well. Maybe a male avoidant feels like, I haven't been meeting my numbers at work as much, and I'm feeling like, what's wrong with me? I don't know what's going on with me. Female avoidance, it may be more typical to certain insecurities that maybe somebody told them in their childhood, and so they still believe it. Like, they may think that they're not intelligent, and they may feel very bad about that. So they may say, I act like I feel, very smart because I know that I am, but the truth of the matter is I don't always feel smart. Sometimes I feel, like I'm not good enough. They just open up, and they may share that. Sometimes it seems a little awkward because it's like wedged into a conversation that's not fitting, because avoidant individuals, they're not good with sometimes they just don't know when to say it. They're not familiar with it. And so it might be wedged in a conversation that's kind of random, but regardless, they are sharing it. They may not say it in a very emotional way, but as long as they're opening up about an insecurity, it's a sign that they feel loved by you. So it's a good feeling for sure if you're the partner, and you should be proud of yourself. They share their excitement with you. And this is a great one. And if you're an avoidant individual and you have reached this, it's good. And you should be proud of yourself as the avoidant partner, because being open about your feelings and who you are is a sign you're healing in general. So it's really good. Share the excitement. I have a vacation planned with my dad. I'm, pretty excited about it. I can't wait to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to buy new shorts. I'm going to, hopefully I'm going to buy some souvenirs in that area, whatever it may be. I'm going to take pictures. They're just sharing that with you. And it's, it's something that they want to provide you context emotionally. Where am I going to be? How am I feeling? But also I want to share how I feel with you, because I feel loved by you and I trust you. I feel like you're not going to hurt me. You're not going to embarrass me. I believe that you're not going to hold any of this emotion that I'm giving you against me. That's how the avoidant feels. And so it's a really good feeling for the couple. And I love seeing when couples get to this point. And the last one, and I see this a lot, and I think it's great, especially if it's unprompted, but even if it's prompted, it's still an awesome sign, is when the avoidant tells you, they tell their partner, they appreciate you. I appreciate how much you do for me. I appreciate that you always cook for me. I appreciate that you tell me how it is. Sometimes I don't always like it, but I know I need it. I really appreciate it. Simple things like that. An avoidant will feel so connected to you when these things start happening that oftentimes this means the avoidant feels loved by you and that they love you, right? Go ahead, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.